Impact Wrestling in Sin City. Feeling lucky? Welcome back to the ACB Wrestling Talk channel, your main source for wrestling news, topics, discussions, previews, all that kind of good stuff. I am your host, Alexis Carrillo, and what a fitting way to end Impact Wrestling's 2018, but in Sin City itself, Las Vegas, Nevada, because on the verge of 2019, we are on the brink of a brand new year. It's time to gamble on new feuds, it's time to gamble on new champions, and it's time to gamble in a new year of Impact Wrestling. Of course, these tapings that just took place in Vegas are going to be 6 weeks, 6 episodes worth, I believe, of Impact Wrestling. That's going to lead us into the new year. Of course, the final 2 episodes of Impact on the 20th and the 27th of this year are going to be apparently, are reported to be best of shows. But as far as we know, these last 6 episodes to be taped in Las Vegas, Nevada for Impact Wrestling are going to lead us into Homecoming on January 6th in Nashville, Tennessee. And talking about luck, is Sami Callihan lucky enough? Does he have enough of Lady Luck on his side to beat the Wolverine, the Machine, Brian Cage tonight, and finally conquer the X Division Championship? Can Sami Callihan beat Brian Cage? Can he become the first man to pin Brian Cage in a one-on-one singles match? And one thing I want to point out from last week is, yes, we did have their match take place in Ohio for the X Division title, but it wasn't really that much of a match. It was more of an ambush. It was more of 6 men and Sami Callihan trying to take down Brian Cage. It was kind of, poetic in a sense that, as Josh Matthews mentioned, Brian Cage playing the role of Thanos and everyone else, the Ohio drones, to put it that way, obviously in storyline, nothing against Ohio, but the other 6 men being the Avengers and trying to bring this man down. And they did. 7-on-1, but they did. So tonight we get this championship match, which I'm sure is going to be the main event of tonight's show. So who walks out with the X Division champion? With the X Division championship? Who walks out with the X Division title? Will it be Cage retaining, or will it be Sami Callihan becoming X Division champion for the very first time in his career? And to me, the answer is pretty damn simple. I think Brian Cage retains, because if I'm not mistaken, he's only had 2 title defenses in his entire reign. Once against Rich Swann and once against Phoenix, and I think you've got to give him a little bit more of a run with the title before you drop it. And I think Sami Callihan will eventually be the one he drops it to, but it's just going to take a little while longer for him to do so, maybe even going as far as the Homecoming pay-per-view in January 6th. But let me make this clear. If there is anyone on the current Impact Wrestling roster that can afford to keep losing and losing and losing and not be affected by it, that man is Sami Callihan. We've seen it time and time again in the past. In his feud with Eddie Edwards, Eddie Edwards got to win that feud, but Sami Callihan, his stock is way above that of Eddie Edwards today. And let's not go that far in a few months, let's not go that far. Pentagon Jr., he beat Sami Callihan at Slammiversary in a hair versus mask match. Callihan got shaved, which would be the ultimate embarrassment in professional wrestling. And yet, Callihan is still extremely hot. He is one of the best acts on Impact Wrestling. So, even losing tonight, which I believe will happen, even losing tonight, I don't think it's going to be that much of a loss to his momentum. So I go with Cage coming out still X Division champion. And then we got the Impact World Champion Johnny Impact with a successful title defense last week against Killer Kross in a very interesting match, because it was Killer Kross's sadistic ground and pound style, spots in that match were amazing. Against Johnny Impact's high-flying, high-hitting style, Impact got the win. Killer Kross didn't look weak with the loss. All was saved for that main event. But now, Impact faces off against Matt Sydal in apparently a non-title match. But there is still a possibility that this could turn into a championship match for the world title. There is a possibility. I don't think it will. But being that Johnny Impact is a fighting champion, he might put the title on the line later tonight. But still, even with the title on the line or without it, Johnny Impact gets the win, either legally or by DQ or by countout, because you know Ethan Page is going to be in Matt Sydal's corner, and with them being heels, you're most likely going to expect some kind of interference on the part of Ethan Page. We've also got LAX in Las Vegas. They are in Sin City. The Impact World Tag Team Champions are in Sin City. And one thing where Impact, I think, is headed towards that I am very excited about, and the fact that they kind of planted the seeds last week at Final Hour, is a possible LAX versus Lucha Brothers tag team feud over the tag team titles. And obviously, if they are building towards that, it has to come to an end, well, not to an end, maybe to a first match, to a first bout at Homecoming in Nashville, Tennessee. And if they do that, if they do confirm that that is indeed where they are going, I'm going to tell you this, LAX, Lucha Brothers, tag team versus tag team, with the tag titles on the line, that alone would sell the Homecoming pay-per-view to me. I don't know about you, but that alone would be enough to entice me to purchase the Homecoming pay-per-view. So on that part, looking forward to that whole feud being built up. And, Conan might play a big part in this rivalry. Conan's boys are currently Santana and Ortiz. Those are the ones he manages. But this has been pointed out by Josh Matthews, by Don Callis. Conan has a lot of history with Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix, so it's going to be interesting how they inject that little story plot and story point into the storyline, hoping that they get a future title match at the Homecoming pay-per-view. We've got the return of Tessa Blanchard. She is in action tonight. Not sure who is she facing. But one thing is for certain. Tessa Blanchard, you need to line up challengers for her. She's kind of ran through the entire division. Right now, Su Yung, Ali, Kiera Hogan, and Rosemary, they are not even a part of the conversation of a Knockouts Championship match. They are dealing with that whole Sinister Minister, James Mitchell feud program that they have got going on. Very entertaining. It's going to be interesting to see where they take that. But as far as challengers for Tessa Blanchard, all I can see right now is you either go with another rematch with Taya Valkyrie. She did win that match by DQ, but she did win it a few weeks ago. Or you could go with debuting Jordynne Grace, but I'm not a fan of having, debuting superstars go right into title contention. Katarina is not a part of this conversation because she just got beat by Jordynne Grace. Alicia Edwards, I don't think she's on a wrestling level or on any sort of win-loss record level to challenge for the title. So it's going to be interesting to see where Impact takes the Knockouts title heading into the new year. And finally, one thing that pains me to admit is that, like I said last week, I was clearly buying into the Eli Drake Joseph Park partnership. I was buying into that. I thought it was legit. I thought nothing was going to go wrong. I thought, Joseph Park and Eli Drake, they're going to go ahead in the next couple of weeks, in the next couple of months with the lawsuit together. And I'm not afraid to admit it, it caught me by surprise when Eli Drake beat the hell out of Joseph Park last week, which should have been expected, knowing who Eli Drake is. But again, I was excited about their partnership because of those courtroom segments that I have been picturing in my head. But might not happen any longer. One thing I do agree with Eli Drake's promo last week is that he is in fact the last of a dying breed. He works the mic, he performs in the ring very adequately, not going as far as performing moves he doesn't have to, and focusing more on character development, which you know is very attractive to me because I'm a fan of characters, I'm a fan of storylines, and then you bring in the professional wrestling. Then you bring in the physicality to, as a complement to this entire story. So I'm a fan of that. But a lot of things are going to go down tonight in Las Vegas, the first Impact episode in Sin City. I'm sure you and a lot of Impact Wrestling fans are looking forward to what is going to go down tonight for Impact Wrestling. And if you have any ideas on what might go down, if you have any predictions, make sure you leave them on the comments section below. If you follow wrestling news, topics, discussions, previews, all that kind of good stuff, consider subscribing. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you dislike this video, hit the dislike button. That's it for me. Till next time.